Well, look what we got here. 3 cats. And you know what else we got? We got a new Marlin lever action. It's the Old West style. And I got the barrel that was round versus the octagonal barrel because they seem to charge you a hell of a lot more money to have the octagonal barrel, which is probably because maybe it's a manufacturing cost, but it could be because it's more cowboyish. But I like this rifle because it's got a high capacity. It's a 44 Magnum. This stuff here. Usually these are, well, yeah, typical 240 grain. But you don't have to mess around with buying magazines for it. And these are usually, I like these kind of, these are actually very good because they're flat and you don't need that jacket of hollow point stuff, believe me. Not with a 44. These work just fine. And they're cheap too. But made in the USA by American craftsmen. And I think some years ago, Marlin was bought out. And they did have a problem when they moved them from, I think it was Connecticut to New York or something, for a while. And then they got the machining all fixed up, and they're good to go now. But it seems like these got out of vogue for a while, out of popularity, because I don't know what it is. Everybody's buying, the AR-15s or the AKs and stuff. And they're kind of overlooking these old-style rifles. And actually, they're very, very handy because they're small and lightweight. Now, I also have a Ruger Red Hawk revolver that can go along with this just fine. That's one of the advantages of having the 44 pistol caliber in the rifle. You do get a good distance out of it. It's good definitely within 100 yards, which is very practical. And you get more velocity out of it with the longer barrel. But the other thing is, it's a hell of a lot easier to aim when you have a rifle versus a pistol. Say 75 or 100 yards. It's a hell of a lot easier. These has the stock type of sights, but and the front sight is hooded too. But what I like about the Marlin over the Winchester, this is the Marlin 1894, is that it has the side eject. And this has the safety on it too. So that's for fire. When this thing is like this, you can't even, it's all locked up. You can't even do nothing with it. I don't know if that's good or bad. It's good actually, because if you're crossing can't open it up one hand. It's a little stiff. If you're crossing a river or something, or a fence, let me just get this thing off here. It's kind of weird. You can't really operate the lever action when it's sideways. I don't know what it is, but you can easily. I can't do it with one hand too easy, but when it's more vertical, fine. When it's like this, I don't know. It seemed to not work that well, but that's just how it is. The other thing is, the safety's good especially if you're crossing a fence or a stream or something, or you're climbing over something, and you got a round in a chamber. You can, this means fire, of course, with red, and if you can pull it back just a hair, and then it keeps it from, you can't even get anywhere near, the firing pin when it's unsafe. You can't even operate the lever, so that's good to go. I believe you can't operate the lever. Oh no, you can. It was just sideways. That's what it is. You can't. It seems like it doesn't work when it's sideways. Sure, you can actually operate the lever and load it up, which is good, I guess, if you want to load it up and get one in the chamber. You might want to do that all while the safety's on. What I also like about the Marlin is that it's got the side eject. You see right here? That's the side eject, so they'll be ejecting out the side versus the top. 2 reasons. It's already drilled for scope mount. And what kind of scope you put on here is you just put a 2.5 power, a small scope, high quality. And I actually have a scope on my 357 Marlin. And I think the scopes actually work very well with them. And the other thing you have to do is you have to add, when you put a scope on here, you have to put on the hammer a little extension to get at the hammer because the scope might block it. But with this rifle, couple of advantages are, well, three advantages are, is you got the scope mount. It already has the points where you can put a sling on it, and I like a sling on here because some people have no sling, but I'll tell you what, a sling, if you wrap your arm around it like this and you have and it's hooked in here, it makes it a lot easier to shoot from a lot of different positions because your body becomes like a tripod. It's also got the rubber buttstock because this thing's going to have some pretty good kick with the 44 in it. And the other thing is, the side eject, because even without the, without the, scope, it's definitely good having the side eject because you can mount the scope right on the top. But even if you weren't even going to mount a scope, when you have a side eject, you don't have to worry about a round falling back in here, like on the Winchester. It doesn't happen often, but it could. It could. Especially if you're not aggressively operating the lever action good enough. But the other thing is that you could top these off. In other words, other rifles with a magazine, you got to take the magazine out to top it off. This you can be using it. You can use a few rounds and then stick 3 more rounds in here and top it off. And you don't have to worry about changing magazines. I think the only disadvantage is your magazine is incorporated in here. You don't want to smack this really hard and dent it, but it's steel. It's not aluminum or anything. It's not going to dent that easy. And I don't know, it's just a light, quick pointing rifle. That's what's really good about them. And I like, the 30-30 and 35 Remington's good ones to have, but you get more capacity with the 44. And if you're going to carry like a 357 Magnum or a 44, you can have the 357 Magnum pistol with the 357 Magnum lever action, and you can have the 44 pistol with the 44 lever action rifle. And some of you are saying, well, why would you do that? Well, it's like, first off, you got more capacity, right? Because you might have 10 plus 1 plus 6, so you have 11 and 6, so you got 17 rounds before you reload. This you could top off real easy, like faster than the pistol. But it's not just getting more velocity out of the longer barrel. It's much, 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 much easier to aim. Because when you're looking at the sight radius from this sight to this sight, versus if you're looking at it from a pistol from here to here or something, it's very, very difficult to aim a pistol accurately, like 75, 100 yards, unless you're target shooting. Like stationary target, whatever it is. This you could pick up a target like a, running antelope or something, deer or something. That's what you would really use this for. You can also use the 357 fine with that too, but the 44's got more capability. And really, it's about the same. I'm not talking muzzle energy and velocity, but as far as practicality, because it makes it's a bigger, heavier round. It's 240 grains. Within 100 yards, you can't really say energy, because the 30-30 has more energy. It's got more velocity. But it's, you're talking 150 grains versus 240 and a 42. Well, I think these are 42s, but they say 44. I think that's really I think 44 is really our 42 caliber width. But they're about almost 50% wider, and they got more, weight behind a round. So in practicality, for practical purposes, the 44 Magnum lever action is equal to the 30-30 within 100 yards. Problem is, after 100 yards, maybe you can stretch to 125 yards, but if you start going on 200 yards, the bullet drop on the 44 is pretty tremendous. But for all practical purposes, if you're using this out in the woods or something, you're not going to be shooting past 100 yards. It's usually out west where you get these really long range shots, and you probably wouldn't be shooting a 30-30. You would probably be shooting a, I don't know, a 708 or something, or you know what I mean, something that would have a much flatter trajectory. But I love this rifle because it's like, it's old school, it's old west, but it's very, very practical. And I to me, the best, you know, I just like the Marlins. I've seen people shoot. I've seen the West. I've never owned a Winchester's. I know Berkey makes great rifles, replicas and stuff, but they're a lot more money. This is a lot more practical. You know, Marlin doesn't charge a lot of money for these things. And, you know, if they start trying to go after these rifles, you know, it's pure communism all the way, you know what I mean? Yeah, they're starting to try to restrict firearms ownership. They have just an assault rifle or whatever, you know what I mean? The communists doing that. Anyway, I'm going to get some oil on here. And we'll probably be taking it out here in a couple weeks. Shoot some of this 44 up. I got some more stuff coming. I got a 357 revolver coming. I'm buying a few of them right now. And I make my own gun oil, actually. I use a combination of Mobil 1 and automatic transmission fluid. That's my gun oil. That's what's going on here. But I might, for now, I might spray some, made in the USA, some of this stuff, Barricade. Yeah, but I love these. And I'll be getting, eventually I'll be getting, I'll probably use the Green Web GI sling. Some people say that's not the right one, but I like the Green Web GI sling. That's how I have my 357. I'll probably get a scope for this, a 2.5 power, small one that mounts up here. And we'll laser sight it in and take it to the range. And anything else? No, just a scope and a sling. Just a scope and a sling. And you know, they make a good rifle today, so it's kind of weird. It doesn't really, you know, it's probably because of the way the action's got to fall. It works fine. If it's like sideways, completely sideways. It kind of, you know, something in there is like gravity fed or something. I don't know what it is, but up and down here, no problem. You know. So, but you know, I like the safety on these. To tell you the truth, I like the safety. I mean, if you're gonna, you know, if you're just make sure you got the safety off when you're gonna be out. But you know, if you want to cross, like I said, if you want to cross a stream or climb over a fence, it's pretty cool having to just be able to put that on. You know, I think it's a pretty good feature. Just that, you know, make sure you don't forget to take the damn thing off when you got to use it, right? So, made in USA. Not too many things are anymore. Don't like how they put that on there. And by the way, whenever you buy something like this, make sure you keep the box. Not that I ever freaking sell it. I never sold a gun in my life, but some people, like I buy a gun and I use them and I rotate them. That was my theory, especially back when, because if you buy one gun and you put like 100-something rounds to it every week, you know, after a few years you're going to start wearing the damn thing out. So I rotate them, you know. But if you buy a gun and you figure some years from now you want to trade it in or do something else, always keep the box. I throw the boxes away myself, but always, you know, I'm just telling you, if you happen to, I don't ever freaking sell guns myself. I never sold a gun in my life, but if you ever resell a gun, make sure you keep the box, because somehow if you got the box, to me it don't mean a damn thing, but for some reason when it's sold with a box, it's worth more money than if you don't have the box. I don't know what the hell that is, but I personally can give a crap myself. I just would think that I want the thing to work, but and these sights they're not bad. You know, what I always liked about these sights, though, is where they're pretty good. It's like, I mean, it's better having a peep sight in the back. But when you're looking through this aperture in the front, this hood that protects the front sight, it does help it to line it up pretty good. You know? So, we got these three guys. They're still inside. And one of my cats, Dixie, showed up a couple hours ago. I still don't know where Mr. Paws is. But, freaking something else, man. They're around. They're around. So we're going to give this a coat of barricade. And I'm glad I got this. I got another one coming. I'll probably get another one. I'll probably get another Bursa. I don't know. They're Nancy P sales, you know. Nancy P's in and crazy Democrats and you know, figure I might as well buy some. Anyway. Yeah, it's a nice gun, man. Sometimes I can't stand them though when they're freaking brand new because they don't have any scratches on them. You're almost afraid to use them. So I don't know why they always have that white dot on there for it. I don't know what the hell that's for. But you know, some of the other ones, like I said, they don't have. The Marlins are good because you know you can put the scope on them. They got the rubber buttstock, and they're set up where you can put a sling on it, and they work good with the side eject. I mean, I don't know, and they're the lowest price ones going too. They ain't shit. They work good, man. And for some reason, these pistol calibers seem to feed through a lot slicker than even the rifle calibers because they're shorter. I think that's probably the reason. But you know, you got pretty good capacity with you know, the 20-inch barrel. You got 10+1. You know, if you're talking like 30-30, I think it's like 5+1 or something like that, or 6+1. So you got 4 or 5 more shots. So you know, that's a big advantage. And as you use these all break in too. This is like I think this is going to be okay though. But I always put a little lube on this shit so these rounds go in there quicker. But very happy I got this. Very happy. But you know me, I just keep guns forever. I mean, I got guns from my dad even, you know, from 1930s. And so I'm going to add a few more here. But after I add a few more, I probably won't be buying any for a gazillion years. You know, this was one I kind of was thinking about for a while. The old 44. Because I do have, like I said, I have the 44 Ruger Red Hawk pistol. That's the only thing I got a 44 in. And I figured this is going to be a perfect companion to it. I have the Smith & Wesson Model 66 357. 6-inch barrel, and I have the Marlin 357, and I'm getting this Weirrock Vindicator 357 nickel 4-inch barrel to go along with it. 357s are good. Probably if you're going to only get one, I'd probably opt for the 357 over the 44, but they're very good choices, either one of them, because the 357 seems to be, I don't know, it's like one of the most popular calibers. Plus, you can shoot 38 special with it. And you can shoot 44 special with this, too. So shoot a cycle and shoot 44 special. And, you know, what I like to do, though, with the Magnum loads is I don't load them that hot. Because they're a little ridiculous. You know, it's amazing that back in, I don't know when they came out with the 38 special, I don't know, in the 30s or something. But they only had the 38. They had the 38 S&W, and then they came out with the 38 Special. Oh wow, no plus P. That was like the hot ticket. Then they came out with the 357 Magnum. And it's like, you know, to keep up with this stuff, and I'm like, you know, for a pistol caliber, I don't think you need anything more than a 44 Magnum for all practical purposes. And you know, I try to stick with the common stuff, the real, because when you start getting the more exotic things, it gets more expensive. You know, they got stuff out there that's probably better, but you know, Sig makes a 357 or a 327 or some garbage like that. I mean, fine, but you know, it's cheaper shooting stuff that's very common, like a 44 Magnum. But you probably, if you was going to only buy one lever action, this is the only other lever action I have. I like the lever actions, but I'd probably opt for the 357, and that's what I did first. But I figured I'd get this because this would make a great companion for the Ruger Red Hawk in 44. Right, guys? Little freaking yo-yos. These guys are a freaking trip. Anyway, and we'll be out here shooting them pretty soon. I mean, I got to get out to some of the more of the Confederate reenactment stuff that's coming up, and I've got a pretty busy schedule. But I'll be getting out there to the Ocala public rifle range, and we'll be shooting this, and also the Bursa 380. And I'm probably going to pick up another Bursa 380, and also that 357, that Warrock Vindicator. I'll be shooting that. But you know, for some reason, I don't know why people have been overlooking these lever. They're not selling that much of these right now, the lever actions. I personally think a lot of people are missing out on what is a very, very, very practical rifle. It's like, you know, you ain't got to worry about freaking sticking new magazines on it. And it's got the one magazine. You can top it off. You put a low-powered, high-quality scope on it. I know some people don't put a scope on a lever, but a little one. Something like 2.5 power. Believe me, that makes it a lot easier to freaking shoot this thing accurately. And a sling. A lightweight GI green web sling. Nothing heavy-duty or nothing. And you can also, if you want to, you can put the leather wrap around here. You can make it. And you can even put, they got stuff, I don't really like them that much, but you can put stuff on here where the rounds are held on here, the leather thing. You can put like, I don't know, 10 rounds on here or something, so you have 10 rounds, but it gets a little ridiculous. But the leather wrap around here, I got that on the 357 Marlin. That's nice to have. But that's all you got to do. You don't have to, because some of these other, you know, fancy rifles they're selling, you can put hundreds and hundreds of dollars into it. You know, the sling, I could get the sling and stuff for like $20. The scope, if you're getting a really good one, I'm talking good, what I consider good, you know, under $100 with the mount. And it'll last. It ain't going to break. It ain't going to break. You could have it quick detach too, but, you know, you got a good enough scope, it ain't going to break. I mean, then you're done, you know? You don't do anything to it, you know? It's just simple. It's old school. It's like the small block Chevy of the gun world, the lever action. I mean, I don't know what, you know, people aren't really looking at this anymore. That's what's kind of weird. They should be. They should be. I don't understand why not. It seems like everybody's going for this latest, greatest, you know, AK and whatever. But this thing is, and these things will, they'll pump out rounds quick, man. They pump out rounds about as quick as a semi-automatic if you freaking know what you're doing. Like I said, you can top them up real quick too. So they're good. They're good to go. And you know, these rounds here too. They ain't, you know, this is like hunting stuff, man. I don't think there's any game in it. Well, you wouldn't use this for a small game, but I don't think there isn't any large game that you can't use this on if it's within 100 yards. So, and it's cheap. It's cheap to shoot too, especially if you reload it. And pistol calibers are a lot easier to reload, in my opinion, than the rifle calibers. I don't know why. These are they got a nice wide mouth on them, you know, straight brass cartridge and stuff. So anyway, oh yeah, here's Feather. She's in here. So anyway, I don't know, you should take a look at these damn things. I mean, to me it's, and the other thing is too, if they start making these rifles like subject to the communist policies of Democrats, let's put it that way, right? You already know what they're up to. I already know what they're up to anyway. You know what I mean? Karl Marx and Nancy P, right? So anyway, it's pretty too. I mean, look at it. It's like Old West. It's the Old West. The Old West. Yeah. Old West with meow meow cats, right? You guys are gunslingers. You don't know anything. They got claws. They don't need guns. They got claws. They got sharp little needle knives on the end of their paws. Anyway, we gotta find one more cat, and we'll find out what the hell's going on, Mr. Paws. We gotta find him. Anyway, consider these, man. I'm telling you, these things are great, man. I'm talking about it a lot because I really love it. And I love this freaking rifle, man. It's almost like I don't really need it, but I love it. But you know what's going to happen is it's going to probably be one of my favorite damn rifles going. You know, despite not having all the latest tech. It's 1894, right? That's when this was made, designed. 1894. Just like I used my Perfection 1550 heater to heat my house. Designed in 1913. It's over 100 years old design. This thing's like way over 100 years old design. What's wrong with it? Nothing. It's great. It's still made in the USA by Americans. I mean, you can't beat that.